Hello and thanks for staying on LN 24/7. This is Politics Now. My name is Morno Balagbubu. Today on the show, we will put our searchlight on Edo insecurity matters arising. And I'm sure by now have an idea kind of what our talking points will be focused on. First, we'll look at the outrage over Uromi killings. This has been generating a lot of reactions, most especially from the northern region of Nigeria. Even as of today on X platform, you see Fulani trending and also Uromi trending. We'll get into the details of what is going on and what is shaping to sort of raise the tensions of based on ethnicity. And it's really concerning at a time as this, and the presidency, of course, has been alerted about the latest developments, and one, we really need to tread carefully when addressing issues that borders on ethnic violence and ethnic cleansing, so to speak. Well, our second talking point also will be focusing on addressing the security architecture in Edo State, and we'll try to, widen our conversation to also push the searchlight across the nation. And finally, resolving insecurity in border town areas. Joining us on the conversation today is a political analyst, a member of Edo PDP rather, Christopher Ojekere will be joining us virtually. He served as an appointee on the Obaseki administration. So let's break it down to how we got here. No fewer than 16 travelers accused by some people in Uromi, the administrative headquarters of Essen Northeast local government area in Edo, of being kidnappers, were gruesomely killed. The victims, who were later discovered to be local hunters, were on their way to the northern part of the country to observe the Eid al-Fitr celebration, were arrested by some unregistered vigilante members on Thursday. Now, it was gathered that upon stop and search, the victims were alleged to have been in possession of Dane guns and other light weapons, apparently for their hunting expedition. The vigilante members, it was subsequently gathered, consequently raised the alarm that the people were kidnappers, leading to the roasting of 16 northern-bound travelers to death through mob action. And at this point, I want to pause to send out our sincere condolences to families of the victims who were killed in that dastardly act in Edo State. Now, there's been a whole while of reactions, most especially from the northern part of the country. Prominent political figures like Atiku Abubakar and Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso have strongly condemned the killing of these 16 northern travelers in Uromi, Edo State, calling for thorough investigation, swift justice. Also, Khan and the Nigerian military have also called for thorough investigation. Now, the victims, mostly Hausa hunters, were reportedly traveling from Port Harcourt to Kano for Salah celebrations when they were attacked by a mob and falsely accused of kidnapping. Atiku has called for a transparent, impartial investigation to ensure justice is served and to prevent future occurrences of mob violence. Meanwhile, Kwankwaso has urged authorities to launch a full-scale investigation and to bring the perpetrators to justice. Let's talk about some of the moves of Governor Kwebelu. In swift response, the governor has ordered the immediate suspension of all illegal vigilante groups operating on whatever guise in the state. But is this the solution? We will get to that. The governor also suspended the commander of the Edo State Security Corps, CP, on Friday, Ibadan. That's Friday Ibadan, that's his name. Now, let's look at some of the key points shared by the statement released by the government. Now, the local vigilante group involved in the gruesome killing on the 27th of March was operating illegally, and also investigations into the killings are ongoing, and 14 persons have been arrested so far. And in response to the killings, the Kano killings of Kano indigents, the Kano state government has concluded arrangements to deploy a powerful delegation to engage with Edo State government and the Hausa community in Edo State. The delegation is believed to ensure that justice is served and those responsible for this heinous act are brought to justice. Also, one person, a member of the APC, who was supposed to appear on this program to give his own side of what the government is doing to ease the tensions, told us that he will not be able to appear on the show today because of a trip that he's taken with the governor of Edo State to Kano State to talk with the government over there. And for, of course, you have to keep up to speed with us as we give you updates on that. But let's go to Chris joining us all the way in from Benin City in Edo State. Thank you so much, Chris, for being with us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So let's go to the position of your party in the state, because we've seen a lot of reactions and there are a whole lot of political dimensions to the conversation. But I want to know the thoughts of your party.
Well, I don't think that the state of insecurity in Edo State, especially this particular one you referenced, should be a party affair at all. It is not. It is an existential threat to Edo people that we have been suffering, especially heightened in the past few months. If you recall, the senator representing Edo North Senatorial District, Senator Adams Oshomole, raised this thing before the National Assembly in the floor of the Senate, on the floor of the Senate, and told Nigerians that Edo State was under siege from marauding terrorists and bandits who are daily killing our people in their farms. And to make matters worse, only a couple of weeks ago, I think about 2 weeks ago, they stepped out into town in a place called the Bira Camp at Auchi area near the military checkpoint, and went to people's houses on the street and kidnapped 4 people from that street. So you can see that they're becoming emboldened. Now, this has been going on, and Edo people have been crying out. Nigeria has been silent. We have done everything we can. We have made our representatives, even the one in the House of Reps, spoke out from Esan, where the unfortunate incident happened, cried out to Nigerians, cried out to the National Assembly that we are under siege. We can no longer sleep in our houses. They will come to your house, especially new houses that have been built and people have not moved in. They'll go and vandalize the house, take away every single thing from your electrical wirings to your WCs to whatever other thing you have in the house that's of value, the air conditioner and so on and so forth. Now, in the farms, you meet them in the farms, uprooting your cassava and feeding them to their cattle. And when you dare raise any voice, in fact, you don't even need to raise any voice. The mere fact that you are present and you have spotted them, the sentence you suffer for it is death. So it's not a party affair, it's an existential threat. Edo is besieged right now by invading, marauding, Fulani, headsmen, terrorists, and bandits. That's the situation.
Now, I'm very impressed with the fact that, I mean, unlike previous national matters of concerns, you see political parties taking position, but it's interesting to see you have this kind of observation in terms of your opinions. Now, would you say the current security situation was inherited from the Obaseki administration? Because from my investigations, I mean, there's been a lot of concern surrounding insecurity, especially the moment Governor Okpebholo stepped into power. What are your thoughts on that?
Terrorism, banditry are not in the purview of state security apparatus. The truth of the matter is terrorism is external invasion. It is solely within the purview of the federal government to tackle. The state can only assist. What you have in the states, things like armed robbery or internal kidnapping or court-related violence, these governors deal with within their state. What has been the Nigerian conundrum for a very long time now is these bandits and terrorists attacking our people. Many of them are said not to be Nigerians. Others, God knows where they come from. You can't tell their states. But they all have the same ethnic coloration. They are Fulanese. Some people may want to call them Kanuris and all of that, but what we know them as are Fulanese. They are in our forest, they kidnap our people. And it's not just happening in Edo State. You saw when the Afan Federal youth leader was kidnapped and came out to tell us gory stories of what is happening in our forest. So it's a national issue. I really resist the temptation to continue to politicize it. I think it's an issue that people run away from and they begin to politicize because they don't want to face it frontally. The president should take responsibility that the country is collapsing under his watch. Now, he inherited a terrible situation because the man you had there was a Fulani who is on record in history to have gone from his Kanuri and Daura home to go to a Western region governor in the past to say they are killing his people. And he was well schooled in that meeting, I understand, and left there in shame. Baba Maruwa, who later became governor of Lagos, was part of that meeting. So it's been with us forever until Boko Haram period that Jonathan inherited. Jonathan did his bit and left. When he became president, Muhammadu Buhari, the thing surged to high levels, and that is being with us. So when Tinubu came, he's still with us. And Tinubu is supposed to now deal with it because at least he has better information and better history behind him to be able to deal with it. So that is what is happening in our state. It has nothing to do with your apparatus. You cannot fight AK-47 with mere, what do you call them, state security vigilante groups who are only allowed to carry at best machetes and then catapults and then sticks. They cannot use sticks and machetes and catapults to fight AK-47. We are talking of people who have AK-47 slung around their shoulders and they are walking with it and walking in the broad daylight, walking in the bushes and walking on major streets and major highways in the country. And policemen are looking at them. The national security apparatus is looking at it. DSS is looking at them. The police is looking at them. And when somebody steals Maggie, according to the musician, the person does. So it is a national issue, and we should all join together, speak up, and fight this. It's a menace. It's threatening to destroy our country because, like the situation you referred to, that reaction you saw in Uromi was a reaction of a people that have been pushed to the wall. There are people that had nowhere else to go. They had to fight back because they couldn't go through the wall. They have lost mothers, they have lost cousins, they have lost nieces, they have lost fathers, they have lost their economy, they have lost their farms. They have been crying out. They have been telling the governor. They have sent their representative. Nobody has listened. So they got angry. And that's why you find such reprisal. And that should give government, a hint that there are many more bottled up reprisals like that all over the country and in Edo State. So government should now see this as a wake-up call to duty to ensure that they deal with this insecurity once and for all.
Mr. Chris, interesting thoughts there, but are you justifying jungle justice? And are you aware that there are ethnic ramifications in terms of ethnic tensions to the narrative that you are spewing right here on this program?
Now, it is so unfortunate, painful, and even more annoying, and a slap to our faces, that the entire northern community and many interest groups, and even the presidency and so on and so forth, now think that 16 lives are worth something, but the over 200 lives that have been killed in the past few months are worth nothing because they are not from the north. Now, it is no longer being addressed as any group of people. They are now being addressed as the north. So according to things you hear in the news, the north is saying, the north is saying, the north is saying. So we now have a community to protect certain people. But the community of the lives of Edo people don't mean anything. They should not be protected. Our farms can be ravaged, our people can be killed. That does not mean anything. That is not jungle justice. Well, if you kill in the forest and it's not jungle justice, what is jungle justice? These people didn't kill in the forest. They killed people that had dangerous weapons, and when they tried to accost them, they attacked them. And then, well, of course, it degenerated. Nobody anywhere will support jungle justice, but we must not reinvent the word jungle. Jungle means that somebody who has committed a crime within the law has not been tried and the person has been killed. According to our laws, are we permitted to have civilians by whatever name going up and down with AK-47? Does our law permit that? So that itself has modified the word jungle justice.
Mr. Chris, the law does not permit that, but Does the law permit another citizen to take the life of another? That's the big question.
No, that is why we are saying that the 200 people that have been killed in our bushes and in our forests should be investigated. If we are going to investigate those who killed 16 people, then does logic not say that it's a causal effect? There's cause and effect relationship here. So if people reacted, why did they react? Did they just go to the street to react? There are 200 people, we have the videos that have been killed in the past 3 months. There are camps, farm camps that have been attacked in the night, killed. We have pictures of the people who are doing it. There are farmlands that are where they went in, uproot cassava, and they are being killed. So the justice should be all encompassing. If not, you have not done justice. So if people like to use the word justice, they should know that it should be all encompassing. Equity must be involved in justice. If there is no equity, then that justice is modified. And justice modified is not redress. And when you don't have redress, you're likely going to have what you have again.
Now, I will not move away from asking you about the state governor because he is the chief security officer of the state. So how is this political, so to speak, to demand that the governor is in his jurisdiction as the chief security officer of the state to secure the lives of people?
This governor of the state is not from my party. But I will tell you here on TV that the man is trying to fight insecurity in the state within the limits of his powers. We left a very solid architectural security architecture for him, and he's taking advantage of that. And he has also gone ahead to put some measure in place. For instance, he has banned court activities by pronouncement, and he seemed to mean it. And then houses of those who are found to be kidnappers or colluding with kidnappers will be brought down, and one or two have been used as examples. What we are talking about here is the insecurity that comes from external sources. People who are not resident in this state, I'm not saying indigents, they are not resident here. They come and the only place they have a home is our forest. And then they are there with AK-47 and all sorts of dangerous weapons. They attack our people. We know them. We see them. Our people who are killed know who attacked them. Their relatives know who attacked them. So if government is going to tackle this menace, the government must be real and serious. All these niceties about diplomatic language, I don't know how to use them when I'm dealing with people's lives. Because everybody that loses somebody to such brutal killing is entitled to maximum anger. That's my position. If not, bring your own relation and let him be brutally killed. It is enough for people to be in their comfort zones and begin to treat the lives of other people as if those are the sacrifices the nation have to make to continue to pretend that there is peace when there is none. There's an undercurrent of a boiling subterranean catastrophe that is waiting to happen. And Edo State people will not be the tinder box or the cannon folders that the other part of the country will be using to douse the tension that is undercurrent. Let the government dig undercurrent and bring out these things and deal with it. I'm happy that the Lagos State government has set up a delegation to come and discuss with our governor. We have put there in public space for them evidences and our positions in all of these matters. So it's an existential threat. When they go to attack you in the forest, they don't know whether you are APC or PDP. They attack you as an Edo person. We are speaking as Edo people, and we are going to speak as one as Edo people. We will not, and I repeat, we will not sit down and fold our arms and be used as cannon folders for the marauding, wicked, demonic, bloodthirsty ambition of certain people in Nigeria.
Now, from all you have said, Mr. Chris, I want to ask you a simple question that I think a lot of Nigerians ponder on quite a lot of time. Do you trust the capability of the Nigerian police and the Nigerian army and paramilitary to protect you in your state?
Now this is the case. When we go to court to present our case, they ask for evidence. If you have numbering about 200 people being killed within the past 3 months in Edo State, if you have a situation where 16 people were burnt alive, as it is rumored, and then from the beginning of that operation up until the end of the operation, you didn't have the presence of any security man making arrests there. They're only making arrests later. if we have our security people always coming after the actions have been committed, if we don't have in court 1, 2, 3 Fulanis under trial for killing people in our farms, then they should know, the security people should know, that the people are beginning to lose confidence in their ability to deal with the matter. So if it is that they are not equipped enough, they should speak out. If it is that there is political influence to free those people when they are arrested, they should speak out. But right now, the reason why people have to take laws into their hands is because they don't feel that the state is able to tackle the matter. If you are in America and you are being attacked, you call 119. You are confident that they will be there in no time. So there is a complete lack of ability. Whatever is causing it, I don't know whether it is compromise or whether it is lack of equipment. It is for the security people to speak out why they are not able to police the territory they are given. The governor is not the chief police, the chief security officer of the state. With respect to command, it's only so in paper. They take their orders from Abuja and they take their orders from their superiors in the national headquarters. So why is it that we don't have any prosecution going on? Or are they saying they are not aware of the camp of farmers that was attacked in Ovia South? Or they are not aware of the killing that happened in Okpekpe, that Adams Oshomole, a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, spoke about in the Senate only a couple of weeks ago? Are they saying the one the House of Rep from Esan spoke that they are not aware? Have they investigated it? What is the position of the investigation? So people do not feel that the state apparatus or apparatchik is taking care of them. And we don't feel so because on a daily basis, we are having our relations killed in the forest. We're having our relations murdered in their farms. So the security people should look inward and tell us why that is happening.
Quite interesting that this has gotten national attention. But away from that, now let's look at the security architecture of the state. In swift response, the governor suspended the illegal vigilante groups operating under whatever guise and also suspended CP Friday, that's the Edo State Security Corps. Do you think this is how to solve the problem of insecurity in the state? Because, I mean, you just said that you don't trust the police and you don't trust the Nigerian army to protect citizens in your state. So is this move by the governor playing to the gallery?
I just finished a television program in the state. I wish you had watched it. And the governor's representative was there in the person of his SA Media and Strategy. And we gave him very useful hints and very useful suggestions. Now, there is what we call the Vigilante Group of Nigeria, VGN. The governor has not made maximum use of them. These other groups that are referring to are state-created groups, but the VGN is national. And they work hand in hand with other such national groups that are registered. Now, before now, that group had helped so much in stemming insecurity in Edo State. They were there during Oshomole, they were there during Obaseki, but they were neglected in both regimes. Both Oshomole and Obaseki neglected them. They are professionals. They are well-trained security personnel who have retired or good hunters who have been well-trained on security, surveillance and so on and so forth. Now, we told them to tell the governor to re-engage them. We need them back because they are patriotic and committed. That's why the fact that they have been neglected, they have been there, but they are so limited in everything. They have no support. They have no logistical support. They have no support to operate. We need them because we need our state protected right now. So all of those politics of this and that, I'm not interested in what they are doing. What I am interested in is that they should secure Edo State. The regular policemen, the regular DSS, working with this registered militia that have been registered national, it's a national body, they have their structure. They should work with them to protect our state, to protect our Edo State. That is what we are after. If that is done, you won't have the kind of thing that you have in Uromi. Because these guys have shown their mettle in the past and they're capable of showing it again.
Now, the last couple of months, from last year to this time, there's been a lot of agitations about the need for state police. Do you think that these incidents justify its need?
Not only have state police, we should have full-scale restructuring of Nigeria. There is no alternative to it. There is no alternative to full-scale restructuring, where we have state police and then we have control over resources to fund that police. There's no use having state police that won't have funds to function. We have to have full restructuring. The tension you have here is because everybody is pretending. We are tired of living together in a federal system. The federal system is over-bloated, is protracted, and is unwieldy. If we have state structures or regional structures, if we structure Nigeria, we are going to live better with each other because we're going to be occupied with developing our individual territories and individual regions. We're going to have what we call healthy rivalry. We're going to have interrelated, activities to do together economically and so on and so forth that will demand mutual respect. So what we need is restructuring. I mean, strong apostle of restructuring, of which state police is a major component. Because if we had our police in the state, for instance, what happened in Uromi won't happen because our police will be everywhere. They know our forest, they know the streets, they know everywhere. We have enough personnel and we have enough technology for communication. So it won't happen. Then we will now come to the region of prevention rather than this reaction. You have to prevent major crime. All over the world, people want to commit crime, but you have to do prevention. Look at what is happening in America. Donald Trump would have said, okay, let me accommodate all of these murderers from Nicaragua, from Venezuela, and all of that in America, and then we know how to deal with them. But when they check the rate of crime they were committing, murder and so on and so forth, it's okay, first take them out. We have to be proactive about these things. So that's why in Ondo, recently, you saw what the Amotekun people did. After profiling about 114 people who said they were coming to Ondo State, only 3 of them knew why they were coming there. The other 101 didn't know why they were coming there. So they were just coming to the state to be put in different cells to start to attack the state. So the truth, these are the realities. Government cannot be running away from reality. That's what is annoying me. Every human being on the street of Edo knows what is going on. And we know that we're under threat. And you want us to continue to paper over these things and begin to talk about them diplomatically and so on and so forth. So we need state police, we need full-blown restructuring. The North don't want that, but they don't want to rein in all the way they have become big problems to other parts of the country. We are not fighting the Igbos here in Edo. We are a very cosmopolitan state. We are not fighting the Yorubas here in Edo. We are not fighting the Idomas here in Edo. We are not fighting all the other major groups here in Edo. Why is it that it's only these Fulani people and us that are having all these skirmishes and leading to what has happened? The North have refused to rein in, but when this kind of thing happens, they begin to say the North. We cannot have that kind of indiscipline. We cannot have that kind of unruly behavior. If they have anything that motivates them to think that living aggressively and attacking the people in their own land is a way of life, we will resist it to the last point.
Now, let's move over to diplomatic relations between Edo State and Kano State. The government in Kano has concluded arrangements to deploy a delegation to Edo State and also the Hausa community in Edo State to do their investigations. So, and from what I have, due to one of our guests who was supposed to be on the show today, that's the APC secretary in Edo State. He was supposed to be our guest on the show today, but had to pull out because he was traveling to Kano with the governor. So diplomatically, how can these tensions that is all agog on social media be calmed?
Well, now this is the thing. We are a peace-loving people. And what has happened. Whatever measures that those in government or under interest groups think they can put in place in their own level and at their own stratum to ensure that they secure Edo people and ensure sustainable peace, we're not going to go against it. So I will assume that what the Kano State government is saying is that diplomatic method is okay and that they will try that. Well, it will work. It will work in the sense that there will be an understanding between them that for you to have justice or for you to have peace, you need to have equity. The Kano government, I think, will agree that it is wrong for people from whatever tribe, whether Kano, Katsina, whatever, to come to our forest to begin to kill our people. He will have to agree when they show him evidences, video clips of such things happening. And then he will have to talk to his own people and let them know that if we have to have one Nigeria, then we all have to live at peace with one another. So that's a level. But there's another level, and that's the level of the fact that our eyes have just been opened to the fact that we need to have what we call civil resistance. We need to have civil resistance. We need to make it clear to people that we value our lives, we value our wives, we value our children, we value our parents, we value ourselves, and that we are not going to sit by and allow people come and use us as cannon fodder. We need to make that point very clear on another level. The security people need to make the point very clear that we have their assurances that they will protect every Nigerian. And then there is a real issue that I think should come up in that discussion. I'm only assuming that discussion will set off a series of discussions. And that's the issue of why should certain people be allowed to carry AK-47 around and then others are denied it? I am going to get together with my friends. A bill must go to the House of Assembly. Edo State people must be allowed to bear arms in Nigeria. We must be allowed to carry arms. Our people travel from here to Onitsha. We travel from here to Lagos. We travel from here to Port Harcourt, doing businesses that involve hundreds of thousands and millions of money and materials and goods. They also need to be protected. If you say the guns are for protection, our goods also need to be protected. So we should begin to push now, all of us in the southern states of Nigeria. There is no reason why some people should be allowed to carry dangerous weapons like AK-47 and we are denying it, because I think that is what makes all the difference. That some people have AK-47 and others are operating in the farm with small hoe and machete, with which they are clearing grass, and then somebody comes and uses AK-47 on them. That should be part of the conversation. Because if those are not part of the conversation, I'm saying all of this for the benefit of all of us and for government. So they can interpret it anyhow that they like, but you cannot cheat nature. The law of motion by Isaac Newton, the third law of motion, is that actions and reactions are equal and opposite. So it is not a question of whether you write it down politically, it's a question of human responses, emotional responses when loved ones are affected. So they should understand that we better face the realities of what it is. So it is either that we are all allowed to carry guns or it should be stopped that any tribe of people should carry guns. They should get police to protect them. If they say they need protection, they should get policemen, licensed policemen with licensed guns to protect them. So if all of that is not part of the conversation, then I cannot guarantee that you won't have this in any other part of the country tomorrow.
Now, the victims who you have spoken about, I understand your side of things. I mean, they would say that for every action, there is a reaction. So these victims have been said to be local hunters and were on their way to the northern part of the country to observe the Eid al-Fitr celebration. So where is the place of investigation? Because if you go ahead with this narrative, a lot of people are going to be vexed with some of the points that you are sharing. So is it not dutiful for there to be proper investigations before the gruesome killing of this man?
No, we are saying this, that, you have just established it in the terms that they usually like to use to establish such things as jungle justice. But I'm dealing with the psychological part and the human reaction part of it. Now, if you put it, subject it to legal tests and legal questioning, you may find the people who did that guilty. But if you subject it to moral and emotional and human relation, it begins to assume another dimension. Now, I want to ask you, we no longer have elephants in our forest. Are you suggesting that you want to use AK-47 to kill a rabbit? Because after you have destroyed all our forests, what we have are rabbits and grass cutter. You mean people come from the north to use AK-47 to kill rabbits and grass cutter and go back to the north to say? Sambisa is such a wide place and is begging for hunters. And so many other places like that, if they want to hunt, are you going to come all the way from the north to come and kill rabbits and kill rodents in our bush? Now, if you come for that, we'll gladly oblige you. But I'm telling you that we have pictorial evidences that you are turning those guns on people. You are destroying the farms and you are killing the owners of the farms. You are raping our women and you are killing them brutally. You are burning down farm settlements and you are shooting the occupants of those farm settlements. There are evidences to that. So that is why I'm telling those who are so now concerned about justice in Uromi that the justice doesn't stop at Uromi, it doesn't not extend to our bushes and our forests of Ya, of Onwa, of Okpekpe. Does it not extend to those bushes where people were brutally murdered by these same guns that were supposed to be used for farming, for hunting? So that's the point. Therefore, it comes back to what I have said earlier. They should stop carrying guns, and hunters should go to Sabisa Forest and go and hunt all the animals there. They have enough forest to do enough hunting there because they are not hunting in our bush. None of our hunters in our forest have encountered them in the forest hunting any animal. Rather, what we have seen is that they are hunting human beings.
Now, let's move on to some ultimatum from the Northern Elders Forum. The spokesman, Professor Abubakar, last week had demanded the arrest and trial of those responsible for the killing. They've been arrested, 14 of them, according to the Edo State government. But they are saying that Uromi, that the investigations and the trial should be made public for the sake of transparency and accountability. Do you think that the government under Okwebelo's administration will pull through with this? We've seen moves to be in talks with the Kano State government so that they can calm tensions. How will this play out to you?
Would be in support of it if the Northern Elders Forum would help President Bola Tinubu to avert all the killings that are going on in their backyard in the north. Killings are going on in Bauchi State. Killings are going on in Yobe. Killings are going on in Maiduguri. I'm surprised that they have not been so enthusiastic and so determined and ambitious to arrest those killers. You see, all of this hypocrisy show us the underlying, facts that we are not one Nigeria at heart. This thing is generating so much because they feel that this wasn't done by their people against their people. So the killings in the north is justified because it's done by their people against their people. Now they all want to swoop on Uromi because that is now when to show their patriotism to their people. Have they spoken about the thousands that are being killed in Zamfara and the illegal minings that are going there and Toji and all the others and what they are doing there? So that is why I'm telling you about restructuring, because I don't want to be guilty of secession and treason to begin to talk of secession. But I know that if we restructure, the tension will die down because you'll be very busy developing your north. I'll be very busy developing our Midwest.
Now, additionally, they are also calling for an unreserved public apology from Uromi and the Edo State authorities, along with the commitment to ensure that such barbaric acts never occur again. Do you think this should be done?
It's a categorical no. If they had called for mutual apology, I would support it. To say, okay, we will apologize for what they've been doing in your forest. We will apologize for what they've been doing in your farms. And then you can now apologize to us, and then we'll have mutual apology. Look, I think we need to state it very clear that if in their mentality they think they own Nigeria, we do not agree. And if as they continue to boast, they think that they have the numbers and the power to overrun people, then they are as daft as the people that attacked Israel, who thought it's that easy. I'm saying that on TV. Nobody has monopoly of violence and nobody controls the global village. So anybody that has the mentality from wherever is getting it to think that they are the superior race that we have to apologize to, I think they are being daft. The truth of the matter is that until you have equity, you don't have justice. We must address those who have been killed in our farms that we have pictorial and video evidences about. If you don't bring that to the table, you have just papered over a particular incendiary event for it to reoccur again in more terrible ways in any part of the country. This should start off a national dialogue about how to deal with insecurity in this country. And we must come to terms with having mutual respect for each other and throwing away that foolish idea to think that you own this country. You don't own this country, and you don't control the global village. You don't control the technology that controls the global village. Don't put your people on the line of fire because you can't stand it.
So now let's move to the way forward, because from our conversation so far, you have made it clear, even though you're a member of the PDP, that you are you are fully supporting what the governor is doing in terms of insecurity. And I try to make reference to the security architecture, but you insist that he's doing the right thing. So in what way do you think the president can step in? Because this is a national conversation and there's a lot of tension, so to speak. The comments from the Northerners and the comments from the South, it's not friendly, especially at this time that we're in. So before we wrap up, your final thoughts.
All right, sir. Finally, before we go, how do you think the president can weigh in? Because right now,
he needs to weigh in now. He needs to weigh in and ensure that now he comes to the reality that there are undercurrents, there are subterranean, boiling anger in the heart of people who are daily being killed, victimized, destroyed. And it is now, you are rubbing insult on injury by some people sitting down there sanctimoniously talking about, things that they know nothing about. So the president should ask his security apparatus to wake up and be up and doing, tell him what they need, and then get into our forest in Edo. Our forest in Edo has become what could trigger calamities that I can't describe their proportion. So if you don't go to our forest to rid the forest of the terrible things that they have in the forest and the terrible humans that we have in our forest perpetrating this act, you are just beginning to start another round of insecurity in the country. Look at the Southeast. It's a boiling pot. We in the South have tried to maintain peace. We have burned so much. But the reaction right now, not of the people who did the act in Uromi, but of the people who call themselves leaders, show that in their mentality, in their thinking, we have no right to redress. We have no right to complain. We have no right to respond. We have no right to react to our daily victimization and death by installment that our people are suffering. That's what they have shown by their attitude and character. They are all crying more or less for a civil war. So is this how they think about us? Well, I think we are going to make it known that we do not think that about ourselves.
Once again, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, like I announced, our guest who was supposed to be with us could not be with us because of his meeting, of course, in Kano State with his principal, the governor of Edo State, Governor Pebelo. Now, away from that, we'll try as much as possible to also have that particular angle of the conversation, because this conversation is solely based on the opposition. So we'll try as much as possible on Wednesday to have him to come weigh in. But if we're to keep things honest regarding the developments in Edo State, especially at this time where Nigerians are still trying to grapple with some of the decisions that the president has made in Rivers State, there's been a lot of tensions there. Also, when you look at what has played out in Osun State and what continues to play out in Osun State, there is a lot of concerns over tensions in that particular area. And now to see Edo State, which is a state that is known for peace, to be, you heard from Mr. Peace and the concerns over the farmers, their daughters being raped by some of these hunters, so to speak. And there's been a lot of questions, logically, when you examine what has played out, as what is the need of hunters to carry guns? And that calls for concerns. And a lot of people on social media, not to take their word for it, are inferring that if you are a hunter, what do you need guns for? Do you need guns to kill antelope? Do you need guns to kill bushmeat? Is that what you need guns for? And thus verify the claims of those who feel that these hunters are actually kidnappers. And that is another side of the story that we must critically look into. And hence, just like our guest has put out today, there needs to be critical investigation. And they want these investigations to be made public for the sake of clarity, because Nigeria at this point in time cannot slide into another form of ethnic political tension. It's not good at all. We've seen what is playing out in Sudan, in DRC. We don't want that to be the situation in Nigeria. That is why this issue is very important. And I must commend Governor Okwebelo of Edo State, who has been up and down to ensure that these tensions are calmed, starting with the suspension. I know some people will call that playing to the gallery and try to appease other persons. But for concerned citizens in Edo State, the issue of kidnapping, the issue of terrorism is migrating from the northern part of the country to the southern part of the country. And there has to be concerns, not just even in Edo State, even in Kogi State. There are also reports of kidnappings that are spreading across the Middle Belt region and also the central part of the country. And this is where the president needs to come in to step up the security measures that are already available. You heard it from our guest tonight. He made mention of the fact that citizens in Edo State don't even trust the current security architecture that we have to protect them. So what are we saying? And I would also want to caution those out there who are of the opinion saying that, what about those who were killed in the north? Where was the same energy? And some people are calling it double standard. As much as we want to see it that way, we really have to be careful of our choice of words so that we don't incite the polity and therefore have a situation whereby our communities are no longer unbearable because of the rhetoric that is being put out there. And therefore, something needs to be done. So it is left for the two governments to come together, that is Governor Okwebelo of Edo State and also the Governor of Kano State, to work together to ensure that there is diplomatic information that is being out there to ensure that there is just pure diplomacy to ensure that the tensions are calmed. Because at this point in time in our country, we cannot afford to have a situation and see things step out of hand. Now, move away from the fact that a lot of people, I've heard conversations from Nigerians who are passionate about the country saying that there is need for a state of emergency in Edo State. I know people would want to laugh at that, but this is very concerning for us as a nation. This goes beyond Edo State, and it puts a searchlight on the efforts of our security operatives to do so much more, because we can't have a situation where people take laws into their hands, even though there is reaction to every action. We really have to be careful that we do not take laws into our hands and then go about hurting other people, especially if we don't duly have the facts. And when the facts are available, when they are taken to the authorities, those who are in charge of doing investigations and arresting those who are culpable for destruction of farms or raping of ladies in farms and just all the allegations that has been put out there, will the security operatives also do the needful? There is that trust, that gap in trust between the people and the community who are supposed to protect them. I'm talking about the police and the Nigerian military. Because if that gap continues to widen, then a lot of people will be tempted to put laws into their hands. And that is condemnable. And I stand here today to condemn every dastardly act perpetuated in the killings of those young men who died and lost their lives as a result of these tensions, these ethnic tensions in local communities, not just in Edo State now, but this is an opportunity to put a spotlight on some of the security issues that we have in our nation, Nigeria, today. And we'll be following all the developments from Edo State. And hopefully we can hear word of how the diplomatic meeting with the governor of Kano State and Edo State will get updates on how things played out over there. Once again, I want to thank you so much for watching the show today. God bless Nigeria and God bless Africa as a whole. Once again, my name is Morno, but I will thank you for watching today.